Get to know all your favorite VRChat DJs all in one place. This is VRCDJ Live.
Well, welcome everybody to VRCDJ Live. My name is Rob Roman. Glad to have you back here on the program. And of course, for those people that are kind of hesitant about the sound of my voice, it's just because I'm coming off of a really strange cold. You could say it's the con crud, but you know what? I wouldn't have had it any other way. But welcome to VRCDJ Live. If you're brand new to the program, feel free to kind of follow us on all sorts of social medias. We're up on Twitter and Blue Sky for all the updates. And of course, we have tons and tons of content for you to check out up on YouTube with highlights and everything about your favorite DJs and even the hot topics, even leading into stuff like age verification, as that is quite the hot topic that we keep to talk a little bit about here on the program and trying to getting a better idea of how things are going. Of course, with our special 10 p.m. Eastern edition of VRC DJ Live. And for those people that are in chat, we are live, and you are free to ask any of the questions you have for our guest today. And coming to us via remote, performing a wide range of genres from house to hip hop, widely considered one of the OG DJs in the VR chat scene, and actually was performing music Vket 0 back in the day. Please welcome to the VRC DJ Live stage, our studios, mind you, Asari. Hello. Welcome to the show. It's kind of, I don't think too many people were really, it was like the first time when you were putting up your webcam and it was just like green. And I don't think anybody was actually expecting the green. I probably should have mentioned it, been like, oh man, I'm just the bright lights of the green screen. But
let's get the elephant out of the room. This is what it looks like behind the scenes. Anyone that's tuned into the stream knows what it looks like when you're looking at the stream. But that's what it looks like when the stream's not on. Got these nice ghetto crates that my equipment sits on. Got these nice ghetto poster boards. That's my green screen. Some nice neon green tape. We make it work. You're behind the scenes now.
And honestly, too, I mean, we were kind of talking a little bit about how I have a green screen, but they don't really tell the average photo shoot studio, whatever you are, that you need proper lighting. Like, I don't know what kind of lighting you have. You have a ceiling light? You have one of those boob lights?
No, they're just, they're like two box lights. There's two white box lights, like $30 a piece off Amazon. I got like one on each corner of the room. That way the lighting's even on the poster board. Like, we keep it simple around here.
Nice. I mean, it kind of makes me think a little bit about the, I honestly don't even remember how much it costs for that green screen that just has been collecting dust for many, many years.
I have an expensive one in the closet as well, so I know how you do it.
But of course, just as I was saying that here on the program, it is a live program. And if you have any questions at any point in time, even proper mustache management for Sari, feel free to leave your messages in the chat. And actually, well, I wanted to start things off today with, I was trying to figure out, because I've always known you for doing house. And I've always known you for doing some sort of like, EDM standard. But then I noticed on Twitter, you were doing a rhythm thing, and it kind of threw me off guard. So tell me a little bit about the genres that you do play, stuff that you'd love to play, and maybe even stuff that you're challenged with that you want to start to learn how to play.
No, definitely. I'll try and remember all that so I can cycle it off cleanly. Just before we get into this, I do ramble a lot. I'm going to try and keep everything as least scatterbrained as possible. It's going to be tough for me, but we'll work through it. Chat, bear with me. First thing, from back in the day, like 6 years ago when I started to right now, anyone that tunes into my streams on the regular knows I kind of have a format. That first hour that I'm kind of, pre-gaming, hanging out, either waking up, having some caffeine, always some chill tech house vibes, maybe some progressive house vibes. That's always the start. As we start to energy picks up, we get further in the stream. I might be having a few more drinks. Maybe I'm waking up from the caffeine. Some bass house vibes, always. That's number 2. Once we get drunk, once we're hanging out, once the energy is full circle, it's rhythm. It's that heavy bass. It's I remember 5-6 years ago when I used to play heavy bass, people used to criticize me really hard and be like, "Hey, we don't want this." And I'm like, "I'm telling you, you do. This is what's hot at festivals right now, and this will be the next big thing." People used to criticize me super hard for it, but if you look at how far bass and rhythm has come in the scene, I still stick to my roots. I still pretty much do that same progression throughout my sets. Some of the things I'm challenged with now, definitely, my company has me going through this DJ program. We're trying to create a program for onboarding new DJs that we have. So we're trying to look through a bunch of YouTube videos, set up a bunch of tutorials, do all these, trying to make like a boot camp for new DJs we onboard. So I'm taking the boot camp with my boss as we create it, and it's challenging me on a different level. When you're doing something live at weddings, when you're DJing all this different music, like old school rock, 70s and 80s music, and then you gotta pull in a song request to some hip hop, like you're all over the place, open format, playing all this mainstream music. It's new to me. It was hard. I think it requires a different style of mixing. But going through this DJ boot camp and having to listen to my own mixes of this open format, hard to mix music, in my opinion, it's challenged me, and it's made me a lot better for sure. The rock, the hip hop, the 70s and the 80s, it's difficult to mix well. So when you're listening to your own mixes and really critiquing everything to a T, yeah, it's tough, dude. It's tough.
It's funny that you brought that up, because the recent couple of guests that we've had on the program, they've been trying to find their footing within the type of genre stylings that they do play in VRChat. And I know one of them even commented on, well, if you're going to have a multi-genre night, don't brush away the hardstyle music that's also part of multi-genre, that it has to fit somehow. Yeah. But you also want to challenge yourself and perform that. And you also said the trigger word when doing weddings, that's also a really key important thing, because what I think a lot of people take out of context when it comes to weddings, it's never, I think, well, I'll go ahead and say it. It's never the YMCA. It's never the Cha-Cha Sled anymore. It's not Celebration by Kool and the Gang. I mean, if that's something they want,
Celebration is still it. Everything
they made
else
better
I
edits
agree
for that.
But...
So, but I mean, but yeah, I mean, with the wedding Etsy crowd and the wedding Instagram crowd, being able to customize it in your specialty really adds to that. But there's a whole nother layer when it comes to performing for weddings, because it's never, well, it's always about what the groom wants and the bride wants and what the family wants, but then you're also catering to people you have never met, comparable to how they get down later on in the night. So having this onboarding thing that you've been kind of talking about is very intriguing to me. Just the fact that finally there's a service out there that it's not just a matter of, okay, we're going to check off some boxes and hope that, when you play country music, it's the span of the entirety of country.
Oh, no, yeah, definitely. I mean, just a quick plug for our company. We make the client journey super, super easy. Anyone getting married, anyone wants a wedding DJ, we travel. Anyone getting married, you could book me as a wedding DJ. We'll make the client journey absolutely excellent. It's super cool. You can go on this app called Vibo that we spend a lot of money on monthly sub to be able to push out to our clients. What it does, it creates a link where the couple can go into the app and make playlists. We're talking down from ceremony music to cocktail music to reception and dance time music. They can import exactly what they want to hear. They can mark do not play songs. They can mark must play songs. And even better is they can send out guest links to like their groomsmen and bridesmaids. That way we get input from everyone. We know what everyone wants to hear. We know where everyone's intentions are for being on the dance floor. It's just amazing because, every wedding's different. Everyone wants different stuff. Of course, you can show with that bread and butter top 100 that you think would work at most weddings. But you still will run into that occasion where you're pulling out all the stops and you just can't get people up. And that's because that's not what they were looking for. So with this Vibo app that we've implemented 2 years ago, it's just incredible. We give the best client experience, and it's foolproof. I've never had last year I didn't have a single bad dance floor. It's just you got to give people what they want, and it's super easy.
Dude, I can't even imagine. I'm sitting here thinking, like, what would it look like if we had a VRChat version of that where people can suggest, okay, well, we're going to, please, I want to know.
I've been one, dude, I feel like I ask everyone, what do you want me to play tonight? Whatever you want. Uh-huh. I would have appreciated that 4 years ago. But now I am asking what you guys want to hear so I can provide you the best experience. I'll play whatever you guys want to hear. And no one ever tells me anything. I talked about, if anyone's familiar with Blunt Quotient and Homie Hub, Blunt Quotient has been one of my OG friends. I've been wanting to do a night where we promote a public Spotify playlist. The community can add to the playlist, and then I could just import it easily in the title, and that's what we play from for the night. I've been asking for community input for a long time. I just don't really have my own outlet to do so. So I'm trying to work with some communities to get some stuff going like that. But yeah, I think that would be huge, and that would be a really big step to what anyone else is doing right now, because it's not hard to do. It's not hard to do at all.
You know, things like that is super interesting, especially on our end, because of the fact that I think people, especially this year in VRChat, have gotten really out of their environment. They're kind of exploring a little bit, testing the waters on a lot of different things. I know there was a group recently that ended up sharing crates, and their thing was that you would hook up with somebody, not like, dating or anything, but like you'd have a community. And what you would do is every week you would create a crate based on a genre, and then you would give them the crate, and then using the crate, they haven't previewed it, they just play it. They play it and try to mix it to the best of their ability, because then they'll get to learn a little bit more of the genre like that too. I think that's super inventive. I think we need to start kind of investigating that too. We had Electro on here a little while ago, how he was explaining how he's trying to put in a masquerade element into VRChat and the DJ scene as well, which allows not only the attendees to kind of come in on an alt account, but also the DJ come in an alt account and perform whatever they choose.
Oh shit! Oh whoa!
And so through the entire night, you don't know each other, but you just vibe. It's just a vibe.
That's kind of cool.
And I think that concept is really great. And I think people really need to like think more inventively like that, and just this idea too. And for those people at home that don't actively go to the knot and have an understanding of how the knot works, but the knot is it's like a website to design, to design your wedding. And basically it's like a one-stop shop to like setting everything up, and then it also showcases everything from like venues to caterers to DJs to entertainers to the gambit. And if you're a DJ, like you live there, like you try to get those ratings, and you try to get those confessionals, and you really try to rank it up. But the DJs that I've known that have worked on the knot have worked tirelessly it's good to get all those things.
It's definitely good. Something that I'm not, the whole reason I work for the company that I work for is because I'm not good. I'm not good at getting gigs. I can't market myself well. Not the greatest at getting my own gigs. That's it. But my boss, my friend that I started with a few years ago, is amazing at it. He's God sent at marketing. He really knows what he's doing. And wedding expos, like I pretty much follow him. I just follow him. But wedding expos is where it's at. We do pretty much one at least every 3 months. We can pull off like 70, 80 leads, and we convert at least like 25 to 30% of them. It's absolutely crazy what wedding expos can do for you. I mean, Facebook is great, Instagram is great, the Knot is great. I'm honestly joining Facebook groups, your local Facebook groups, and finding brides and grooms that need DJs. That's something I wanted to get into later. We can definitely delve into that. But anyone that is a trained DJ in VR that is looking to make some money IRL, join your local Facebook groups. Bride and grooms are always looking for quote unquote budget DJs for their weddings. And it's a great opportunity as someone who is new to the scene to get your foot in the door. If you have the equipment to make it happen, really cool opportunities happen in there. But we can get into that later for sure.
For somebody that's constantly looking for opportunities to perform, do you find that the wedding scene is still overwhelming comparable to because the wedding expos are really great because you get to see some very sugared up, what's the term? Just overly excited brides, because they have everything at those expos. They've got the whole bridal march. Yeah. You get to see all the different outfits. You got the food. You get the, do you find sometimes that it can be a little overwhelming?
I mean, it's definitely overwhelming. It's a stressful, it's a hard day. But something that was big for us was adding on sales guy. We've got like a client. I forgot how the boss man words him now. He's not a salesman. He's a client experience something. There's a he's pretty much a salesman. He goes through all of the leads that we get through at these wedding expos, and he has a way higher conversion rate of just, what we were doing before. So it's kind of he's got a well-oiled machine now. I really don't have to do anything but accept the gigs that show up in the portal. Once I accept the gigs, I do some simple emails and some simple planning calls, like 3 planning calls, a few emails, and I show up to the wedding and I get paid for it. Everything is super automated and super easy. Like it's really a godsend working for this company because it takes care of everything that I was really bad at. It's insane.
Yeah, and that's super impressive too, just because of the fact that there are a lot of brides and grooms in the wedding party that it's either they're really hyper focused in on the things that they want, or maybe they don't have an understanding, but they're going to put their complete trust into someone who is a professional that can get the job done. Yep. Either it's a budget or, for specific style. And that's something that I've been kind of looking upon too, a lot with a lot of the local agencies here in Central Florida too, is just that, there is that like, Tampa Bay, Orlando, Miami, beach town areas looking for these really lavish wedding events, but you also want to pay for all the smoke on the floor and, the brides flying away or whatever. Yeah,
that's where the company comes in. I mean, Boss Man owns everything, but we offer tons and tons of enhancements, talking like dancing on the clouds for your first dance, down to cold sparks during your grand entrance ceremony. Like, we do it all, and it came down to, if a client asked him for something, he said that he had it, and then he would go out and buy it.
There you go.
He's one of those dudes that would make it happen. We've always functioned that way, and it's been killing it. We have a Cage Wars gig coming up, like a fight night for an MMA fight night coming up. We've been doing 3 or 4 of them, but it's coming up 3 weeks from now. We're talking like the amount of lighting, like we have to rent 2 U-Hauls for the amount of equipment we bring in, like trusses and lighting, and it's just massive. It's massive. But he didn't have any of that when he took the gig. He just went out and bought it and went out on a limb. He's one of those people. So working for him is a great opportunity. Definitely.
Like me. It sounds like what I would do.
Yeah, I can't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I can't do that kind of stuff. I need people like him to take care of me. So yeah, I can't say enough about the company I work for, Empire, and my boy Wyatt, who's been taking care of me through the financial instabilities of Twitch.
Right. So obviously, talking about the wedding scene for the kids in VRChat is a little foreign to them. I'm not saying that nobody gets married in VRChat, because they do, but we rarely talk about it because we're not actively trying to like do a mock wedding in VRChat. But comparable to the experience that you've gained in VRChat, is that something that you applied to working for this company? How did that whole transition work out for you?
Oh, no, definitely. I mean, from the get-go, I can really get deep on it. I guess we'll start with the fact that all the experience that I had DJing in VR and on Twitch kind of led to me gaining the skills to be able to DJ weddings well. But even further than that, me DJing on Twitch and in VR led me to gaining these connections in the first place. During the COVID times, I was already established on Twitch. I was already established in VR, and a lot of the local DJs that I had been going out to see recently were just now looking for something else to do because COVID had shut down all the clubs. So it was a good opportunity for me to reach out to some of the DJs that I was a fan of live and ask them, like, hey, do you want to come over? I've got this, I stream on Twitch. I get back in the day, my average viewer count was relatively high because there weren't a lot of DJs on Twitch pre-COVID. Not a lot of DJs in VR either. It was impressive to them, the amount of viewers that I had from streaming from my bedroom. So it was easy to get them to come over, do it back-to-back with me. Now I've pulled them on Twitch. I can throw them a few raids. Some of them built Twitch careers themselves off of it, and it built a day one connection with some of the most popular DJs from my area. One of them being my homie that started this business that I now work for. So it was a two-way street. Not only did it help me build the skills just from practicing DJing all the time, but I also kind of used it to bridge the connection, IRL. It was definitely a really cool time, interesting time.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's very interesting to hear about all these different processes, especially with the fact that I think a lot of people in VRChat and we'll talk a little bit about your opinions on this too, because I know a lot of people have some very awesome words for you. And when we were talking about having the great Sari on the program, everyone was all like, OG DJs, talk about OG DJs in the VR chat space. But also too, and I know I kind of showcased with you a lot of the different topics that we are going to talk about tonight. And I really want a lot of different opinions on this, because from you and I've known that a couple of my first events I performed on the same stage you did. So being able to know that we're standing in one room and there's like 40 people and we're just like, okay, we're doing this, cool, let's go.
That's cool.
Comparable to what we got going on now. How do you take to that of people calling you the OG or one of the OGs? What is your opinion on that?
I mean, in terms of being called an OG, I mean, it's cool. And yeah, I definitely was. There were people here before me. Let's just get that straight. I'll just throw off some names. DJ Dark Fade was the first lead DJ of DDVR, and he kind of passed down the thrones to me. So he was here before me. I remember It's Lumi and Devise. I've had conversations with both of them. They both thought that I was here before them, and I thought that they were both here before me. So I guess all three of us came around the same time. But DJ Dark Fade and Tazar Potato they were here before all three of us. So those two are probably the real OG, like first people to ever play music in VR chat. I think are those two right there. But
and honestly, I don't want to bring up that date, because I do remember. I think it was Zar Potato. I was watching it with like 2017, and I'm just like, where has the time gone where this dude was performing and he was kicking a lot of butt, and then all of a sudden he just poofed. He was done. He was like, I'm done. And I'm like, what do you mean? We're just getting started. But
yeah.
So was it because of COVID times that kind of inspired you to come into DJ, or did you hear about it
no.
online somewhere? How did that go around?
I mean, how do I break it down? I mean, I was playing VR chat from like 2016, definitely way before COVID times. I guess we get started with Void Club. Well, let's bring it back. I was playing PS4 VR, right? I was playing PS4 VR. I was playing Rec Room. I heard about VR. I was super interested. I was playing Rec Room, right? I'm getting pooped on by all these little kids with Vive headsets in Rec Room in the multiplayer, like paintball game. I'm really getting into playing paintball in Rec Room. It was so fun. But I've got my PS4 headset. I'm getting pooped on by all these little squeakers with their Vive headsets, their crazy movement. I'm getting pissed. I bring the PS4 headset back. I get a Vive. VR chat is another game we see in VR. At that point, Emily and I were both kind of in VR chat together. At that point, Void Club was a big thing. We're learning how to DJ together. The big thing back then, if you played Void Club back in like 2016, the music player was god awful. It died all the time. You would spend 2 or 3 hours making all these cool friends in this public Void Club world, and then the music would die, and everyone would leave to a different world, and it kind of sucked. So as one of my best friends, IRL, was leaving his controller over my house, he was a DJ, we would just use the controller to listen to music. I could set up my speakers in my new apartment. He still lived at home with his parents, so we would just leave his speakers, his controller at my house. While we were listening to music, I was kind of watching what he was doing. He was slowly teaching me. I was getting into it. All at the same time as, the one night the Void Club music died, and I decided, fuck it, let's just play over the microphone, blast these speakers over the headset, plug the headset right up to the speakers, and let's roll it. And from that night forward, me and Emily spent probably 2 or 3 months learning how to DJ in public Void Clubs over a microphone. Eventually, she got asked to play for a DDVR one night, and I got sent from that point forward. It was super cool. Who would have thought?
So you'd be playing from your mouth on top of where the decks are, or would you be in the back room, or how did that paint a picture of how that kind of worked out?
I mean, back in the day, it was a circle. Everything was proximity voice chat. You'd have to be in the center of the dance floor, and everyone would have to be in a circle around the DJ in order to hear the music correctly. It was crazy back then. I remember shout out Markin, creator of the original DDVR, the original Sorry avatar, and I believe encoded the first video player into VRChat with that DDVR world back in like early 2017. I believe he encoded that first video player that allowed us to move off DJing off the microphone and to move into Twitch channels. If we would stream on Twitch, we could use an encoder to stream Twitch directly into the world, and that's what moved the five of us originally from DJing off our microphones into making Twitch channels like way back in the day.
See, it's one of those things that
that in so long.
We don't think too much about where those video players came from, especially with those people that are bringing, they're coming into the game and they're just like, oh, it's convenient that they're here. Yes, it's like a mirror. Like you can't have a world without a mirror and a video player.
No, I haven't thought about that in so long. I had to talk. I had to talk my thoughts through. I haven't thought about that in a while.
Yeah, but that's the problem too. Is like you don't even have you don't need to have a mirror in the world because we have our own personal mirrors that we could toggle on and off too.
Yeah, so, I always use the camera.
No, we haven't. You could spawn an actual mirror in front of you now. I don't know if you're aware of that, but
no, definitely. That's how I used to do it.
So, yeah, I know you were just talking about Void Club. You were talking about DDVR. Obviously, DDVR just celebrated their 7th year anniversary, I believe. And they were kind of announcing either a comeback or kind of just like a happy birthday kind of a dealio. Talk to us a little bit about some of the other clubs that you got introduced to. I know recently you've been hanging out with Hypothetical a lot, especially on social media. So tell us a little bit about that and that process.
No, I mean Skippy's the boy. Skippy used to run Shots and Thoughts back in the day, which was one of the first communities that hit me up after I started using an IRL webcam. He's always been around. He's always been doing his thing. No, Skippy is definitely a homie. There's a lot of clubs that I play for. I kind of keep the circle small. I'm trying to think of some of the other clubs that I play for. Like, what we got here? Dude, see, I can go through my recently picked upcoming events. Devil's Den is a huge one. I love playing for Devil's Den. They're the homies. Candy out at Devil's Den. I've been playing for them for the past few years. They're a bunch of really cool people. Yeah, Hypothetical is another big one. Really, if I know I'm playing for Hypothetical, I know it's going to be a big crowd. They're always popping off. They're always doing cool things. Viewer counts world is always high with people actually listening to the music. That's a big one. There are some clubs where kind of people are chilling in the corner, not really listening too much. But I know when I play for Hypothetical, there's going to be a packed world with everyone actually listening to the music, which is cool. I got to shout out Zoom Air and Z Crew too. Recently, they've been having me play on Wednesdays, opening up for Zoom Air and his events. When I think more OG days, obviously like the Dirty Dancers and DDVR were the first two. It was always me playing for DDVR on Saturdays and Lumi playing for Dirty Dancers. He kind of had a more happy hardcore vibe. I had a more house vibe, so it kind of worked out. Whatever was if you wanted more heavy, bassier, faster vibes, if you wanted more chill house vibes, you had a place to go to. That was definitely the OG setup back in the day. I remember Rizumu coming out pretty early too. There were a few other spin-offs that kind of happened like super early on, like 3 or 4 other really OG clubs that Rizumu is really the only one that comes to mind, but I know there were a few of them. But at this point, I know there's so many communities, and I'm missing a ton of them that I should be shouting out right now, but it blanks to come off the top of my head. I definitely kind of have my small circle the same way I did back in the day of clubs that I hang out with and vibe with.
I was going to ask you a little bit about how the fact that you said that you kind of take gigs and you get bookings on occasion and you don't take them as frequent anymore. Do you find
I'll take whatever I get?
There you go. That's a good way of looking at it too. Do you find that some people are hesitant to reach out to you because there's a block of DJs that have been in here for a very long time that on occasion they'll be like, oh, I didn't think that I would reach out to you because I don't think that you'd read my message or something.
I mean, yeah, I get that sometimes of people kind of being too improper, I guess you could word it, but I guess my word to the people is I'm always just trying to play. I mean, it's off wedding season right now, and I don't think I've told anyone no in the past month. I've been playing a lot on stream the past, 8 weeks. I think I've had more gigs in the past 8 weeks than I did all of last wedding season during the 6 months combined. So I'm taking any gigs I can get. I'm trying to play all around VRChat and get my name back out there again. Play with anything you want and whatever the people need. I'm playing any time of the day. Anytime anyone asks me, I'm just trying to get back into the scene again. After being out of the scene for a while, it kind of falls off. You can see it in the stream numbers. You can see it in the revenue that after you take a break, you become forgotten about. So definitely just trying to get the name back out there and get back into it.
It also, it kind of helps too, because I kind of introduced you to the timeline quite recently, even this past year, of all the different clubs and all the different events that are going on. And for a lot of people that we do talk to, some of them do seem overwhelmed because of the fact that there's just a huge, vast number of DJs that want to perform, the different time zones that they want to perform between like the hours of 3 p.m. to like 6 to 7 a.m. the next morning.
Yeah.
And like all of that is so super difficult to be able to see everybody, but also kind of program it to the point where you want to see who you want to see, but then you also have some DJs that really take it another step forward, and they do like 2 or 3 bookings per weekend, where they'll just do like one, and then once they're done, they'll go to another club. Do you find that ever since the DJing and VRChat has gone so popular, do you find that it is a little difficult to kind of try to jump into it or kind of talk to someone once again?
Well, I think jumping into it is probably more easy now than it ever was, just because of how many clubs exist, how many small groups are all in their all little just hundreds of groups with like tons of people in each group. You can find your own little pocket, your own little community, and you're good to go. I think anyone could find anywhere to play right now, and it's a really good place to learn how to DJ and to get into it. I think it was, I don't know, I remember a 3rd or 4th club started to sprout up, and there was always drama, always arguments. There was never a middle ground. The only thing I ever really wanted back in the early days of VRChat was for people to kind of link up together and make parties together. And I don't mean collab together, but I mean for the leaders of communities to, I remember back in the day when there were like the 5 clubs, like I put it on my hand how many clubs existed. And I wanted all of the leaders in a Discord group chat where we could discuss booking DJs, different vibes from each other. That way, everyone in VRChat had a different club to go to with a different style of music that the DJ plays. I just wanted some organization between all the communities. Obviously, that never happened, which means if it never happened now, if it didn't happen back then, there's no way it's happening now with how many communities there are. I think, honestly, it kind of did it itself because there are so many communities. There's like, tons of dubstep communities, tons of drum and bass communities, tons of DJs on Twitch you can go to and throw them in a world and make your own community. I mean, at this point, it's so big that you really can just you can do that. So I'm happy to see that. I think there are opportunities endless for everyone, listeners and DJs both, just because of how big the scene is now. I think, no, definitely. Opportunities are endless.
I know one of the hot topics that I was going to kind of open up this conversation to, it's the inevitable, but we do constantly talk about the boom of 2022 and how a lot of people, I think a lot of it had stemmed from a lot of video content and clubs being made in 2020, obviously during COVID. And then having some of those videos and visualizers that you would see up on YouTube kind of spawn a brand new interest for people that want to do club scene stuff, DJ stuff in here. And even to this day, like I saw a video on YouTube where it was explaining why VRChat is the worst place. Like the video legit just came out like 6 days ago or something like that. And like they talk about all of the things that I think a lot of us recognize that VRChat has problems with, but then they kind of threw in a little sliver about the dance community and the DJ community, and there was nothing wrong with it. Like they were just like, yeah, like if you're not doing the degeneracy stuff in here, then you're going to be in here performing. and having fun. Okay, there's more bad things over here. So
All right, that's
I
cool.
find it,
That's cool.
yeah. So understanding like where the videos and that content were made back in like 2020, to the fact that people were getting their index, their Oculus 2, 3s sometime in 2022, and having all of these DJs come in, comparable to how it used to be. Do you think that we're on the right track? Do you think all of this is healthy? Do you think we need to kind of...
Oh.
Yeah, do you think we need to... Yeah, I would love to hear your opinion on this.
I mean, I think there's, I gotta be careful about what I say here. Because as much as I love people to be in VR 24/7 and to be at my sets 24/7 and everyone else's sets 24/7.
Well, let me try let me try to steer this for a better way of conversation. Was we recently had Zombie Punk from Cozy Club, which is now Couture. They decided to switch their name this past year, and they brought up the fact of burnout. The people burning out. Yeah. And at the same time too, like we do think a little bit about the regular Twitch journey and the regular streaming journey, of the fact that if you try too hard and you're not getting the results that you're looking for, you're just going to continue to squeal the wheels until there's no tread on the tires. So understanding, as we're kind of leaning into the new year, obviously I can only assume that people are starting to get either their feet wet, their fingers dirty with some new consoles from the holidays, or maybe they are kind of figuring out their DJ name or whatever, comparable to how many DJs that were performing last year. Where do you think the burnout is going to start? And do you think people are going to be burning out much faster nowadays because there's just too much going on?
I mean, it really just depends what kind of burnout you're talking about. Like, if we're defining burnout in like a DJ aspect, where you're losing motivation to go live, you're not really wanting the DJ anymore, then my question would be like, how bad do you want it? I've spoken to a few people about this, and I've used myself as an anomaly, which I know is it's only a one-off, but I've had the Twitch career. I lived off Twitch for about 5 years. I had a very high subscriber count, where it's like in 600-700s, and life was good back in the day. And losing it, I thought I experienced burnout. I was experiencing burnout. It got tiresome. You kind of get complacent, and you stop wanting to go live. You lose energy for it. You lose the love for it. But I gotta tell you, if you truly want it, the second that you lose it, you will understand how bad that you want it. The second that I started working again and I got off Twitch, the second I started delivering food and left DJing, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I had the wrong mindset before, and we got to get back into this and fix it, because we can't lose this. I want it too bad. So I think everyone experiences burnout, but it depends how you deal with the burnout, how bad you want it. And work is work sometimes. Not all of DJing is fun and games. So it depends. Do you really want to be a DJ? Are you gonna put in the work, or are you gonna treat this as a party and like submit to the burnout? Is how I feel about it.
That's super funny too, because Diplo actually got interviewed recently over the fact that they were asking him if he drinks a lot during his sets, and he was just like, no, not at all. I mean, when you're a professional, like, obviously you want to go and perform and you want to have a good time and party with the rest of them. But when you're going from like venue to venue to venue via plane time frames, there's no way you would die. Literally, you would just like, you would drink yourself silly. So he was like, there is a time and place for that. But at the same time, you have to be focused on the things that you need to get done. So all of that is super important to understand. I am gonna pick your brain a little bit about the Twitch DJ program that was recently instated a little bit later on in the program, because I think it's equally important to kind of get a better basis and understanding, especially within our community, especially because for those people that don't know, within the Twitch DJ program, it does offer the DJs that are a part of the program DMCA free streams, but paid via a premium that you have to take from your subs. Yep.
You might have to take a quick minute?
Absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
We'll run to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay. I'll be here. But we are going to be talking a little bit about that coming up, especially because of the fact that Zach Busey, who, if you've known him up on Twitter, if you've known him on the fact that he couldn't go to the TwitchCon this past year. I don't know why they wouldn't either let him in with a press pass or something like that. He ended up sharing a very awesome tweet this afternoon about the fallout rate on Twitch, comparable to the many different months to year ratio of when you do start streaming and the type of content that you've created. And we continuously talk a little bit about this while we wait for Sorry to come back, of the fact that we have a lot of DJs in the scene that come on in. They want to test the waters. They want to test out their hobbies, and they want to run with the guys that are constantly in here performing. And we really want to give them that opportunity and that avenue. But I always kind of put in the same scenarios of it being like, you know, if you decide to go on Twitch and sell yourself as Crazy Dave, then you have to uphold Crazy Dave. You have to become Crazy Dave. And for how long? How long can you hold out with Crazy Dave as part of your name by the time you're just like, well, I'm burnt out. At some point in time, I really don't want to be Crazy Dave anymore. I just want regular Dave. People are expecting Crazy Dave. But even in the case of like the Twitch program, great. The Twitch DJ program, the fact that the fall off rate is looking about, we're talking about how Zach Busey up on Twitter recently posted a small little picture of a fallout rate for those people that have been on Twitch past 2022, comparable to the first couple of months compared to like 2+ years. And he was stating how the fall off rate for 2 years, 2+ years, is kind of a whopping 77% for people on Twitch. And tag team that with the Twitch DJ program, where again, we're constantly ramping up how much of a premium we do pay into it. And that's going to complete 100% in August, which I'm sure we're going to kind of come back to. But at the same time, it's important for us in the VRChat community because, again, we're in a weird position where we're talking a lot about do we want to continue DJing on the DJ category or DJ on the VRChat category where we're most known for, and a lot of the people that are in the world will kind of go there. And we have to continuously have these conversations, especially when the program first came out. We were talking with the community members and the DJs in VRChat to see what they were going to do. And while it's kind of a social thing to be like, well, I'm going to be part of the DJ program, there are still a ton of people that really don't want to be a part of that because they are losing revenue. Makes sense to me. But at the same time, you can't deny that DMCA free sounds awesome, especially when you're playing a lot of your tunes. Besides some of the other tunes that aren't playable, like for example, Steely Dan is on the list, or Jay-Z. I got clapped for Jay-Z the other day. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up. Again, we are this VRCDJ Live. We're sitting with Sorry. Is it Sorry or Sarrixo? I used to just call you Sarrixo for the longest time.
Just Sorry.
Sorry. Tell us a little bit about how that started, because I think a lot of people, they don't really know how these DJ names come about. So let's hear it.
Man, I'm gonna be honest. Sorry to bore you guys. It's not really that exciting. I was always an OG WoW player. My original name was Butter, and I had like 4 different druids, and I ran out of abbreviations. Anyone that plays WoW from back in the day remembers people would just add on like QT or XO or X to their names. So I had Butter X, I had Butter XO, I had Butter QT, I had like all the variations of Butter I could possibly imagine. So eventually when I started alting a priest, so I made up all my druids were Butter and all my priests were Sorry. So adding XO was always something super common in the WoW game. Sorry was taken on Twitch, so that's where the XO came from. It's all WoW heritage, definitely.
Oh, it could have been different. You could have put an ooh woo or oh whoa at the end, and it would have been like oh my gosh, can't believe it. But
I felt a little weird about it at first until I saw ISO XO throwing it on there too, and I was like, all right, see, I'm not the only one. All right.
Well, at least we get to know that, right? So I mean, tell us a little bit. I know you were saying that you were coming in here a little bit early. Tell us a little bit about some of the first avatars that you were in and some of the worlds that you went to. Obviously, you said Void Club. What were some things that you used to frequent back? Because again, dude, nobody remembers 2016. All right, the Uganda Knuckles existed, and that's the thing. I don't think a lot of people understand. But kind of tell us a little bit about what 2016 looked like. I mean, obviously compared to now, but like some stuff that you took away from then that led up to, you know, even the Uganda Knuckles thing.
I mean, I came in right as that was kind of quieting down, which was nice. I mean, every now and then you'd have an invasion in your Void Club, but it was kind of rare by the time that I had joined in. That was pretty popular the first, year, but luckily by then, by the time that I had kind of started frequenting the game, it had calmed down. Again, I did experience it slightly, not overburdened by it, which was nice. Um, but there really wasn't a lot to do. There were only a handful of worlds that really were like public and popping off. There was like your two or three like mirror worlds that everyone hung out in. There were a few popular public avatar worlds to go and mess around with new avatars. There was Void Club, and then I remember some disc game. It was like you would, yeah, it was
Battle
some like
discs.
flying, yeah, battle discs, and that was like you would go play Pong in Void Club. You would hang out in with your friends in the mirror worlds, and you would, if you got bored, you'd go play battle disc, and that was pretty much it. It felt like there wasn't a lot to do back then, but that was kind of what made it beautiful. It was really simple.
Gosh, the way that I don't know if you play Fortnite, but they
I love
recently
Fortnite.
they brought
I've
back
been,
OG Fortnite, and we
yes,
actually got to
sir,
play a
yes,
little
sir.
bit of it, and I was like, this sucks. Like, there's nothing going on in here.
Oh boy,
So
I love it
I
for the
think that
simplicity.
I think if you were to bring back OG VR chat, I don't know if anybody would actually be, I mean, they'll go to it and be like, wow, how
No.
nostalgic. But at the same time, it's like,
I mean, the worlds are boring. The worlds are boring. I mean, looking back at some of the screenshots from back in the day, it's nothing like what people are making nowadays.
mm,
I mean, yeah, the worlds are just beautiful. People have gotten very good at Unity. The avatars people make, the worlds that people make, the lighting. People take that for granted, but having the lighting move to the music was like that at one point was a crazy new feature that was mind blowing.
yeah.
That was like new tech, and now it's in every standard world ever. I mean, it's just different. It's different now. It's a beautiful place, and I think that it's like you can use the WoW analogy again. WoW Classic is pretty rough around the edges compared to retail. There's a lot of quality of life features that people took for granted. They went
Mhm.
back to classic and they were like, "Oh wait, this is pretty tough. This is a little rough." It would be the same thing. You'd go back to old school VRChat and you'd be like, "Oh wait, this actually looks awful. This runs awful. It's bad."
I mean, with the DMX lighting too, like it's so fun to talk on this program because people are creating new applications that will not only integrate, even live events and live video to go with that and lighting to go with it. But not only that, but you have people that are genuinely interested in creating that and using that as a
Yeah.
trade and learning a new skill that they could potentially use somewhere else down the road. So all of this is super fascinating for me, especially leading into this year, just because of the fact that not only are there a bunch of groups looking to get a bunch of new people in here with more applications or learning new applications, and also too, they've been saying that not everybody wants to be a DJ or not everybody's going to be built to be a DJ in here. A lot of people want to do security, want people do moderation, people want to do lighting, they want to run clubs, they want to, that's basically it. So being able to do that in here, comparable to how things were several years ago, is just so fascinating. But the fact of the matter is, and I love it's kind of a hot take. I kind of want to go back and forth a little bit about it, especially because just as I was saying, how 2025 people got new consoles, people are going to come in here and they're going to debut, they're going to perform. We're going to go through a generational shift when it comes to, okay, who was in here previous, who was in here just about a year ago, comparable to some new kids. And then just like you and I, where we're just like, ain't nobody booking us because all these new kids are hungry. But at the same time,
Yeah.
too, some of these newer kids, they either A, don't recognize the stuff that we did in the past or are disinterested in that sort of thing. So, I kind of want to know a little bit about your hot take about that. And I know it's not a disrespect thing, I don't think it's not a matter of like, oh, nobody knows, sorry. You were saying
No,
how
for
like you
sure.
did take some time away, and that kind of hindered a little bit based on people knowing you from what you've done in the past. But at the same time too, like this is a perfect opportunity and there's pictures to prove it. I got the pictures from back in the day. So like, I want them to be like, yo, there's DJing back in the day. I want them to have that moment. But at the same time too, there's a lot of people in this game that really don't want to remember VR chat back in the day.
No, yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, it's tough. I think there are a lot of people who don't play anymore that were here back in the day. I mean, I got like a small handful of people that I remember from the original days that are still here. A lot of the names are new people now, at least in my community specifically. People that have been around for maybe the past 3, 4, maybe 5 years, but weren't here for the like original DDVR era when I was only full body trucking DJing. There's only a handful of people in my community that still remember those days. So I think a lot of those people just aren't around anymore. And the people that are around had just spent so much time in VR that it's almost hard to remember what the OG days were like. Talking about a lot of DJs now, and having trouble getting booked. I mean, yeah, I've gone through phases. There are some times when I'm in my own head and I'm feeling kind of negative about my DJ career, and I've been here for fucking 6, 7 years. Like I helped create this shit. Why is no one asking me to play? But that's just that's a negative headspace to be in. When I wake up the next day and I can meditate and reground myself, it's an entitlement that is not really going to lead you anywhere, and learning to move past that will do miles for you. And I'm still working on it. There are some days when it really does bother me, but now moving my career out of VR into a more stable IRL DJ career was super helpful. When my Twitch career died, I had that 2 year gap where I'm like, oh fuck, I'm really struggling. I'm living month to month, and I'm door dashing to pay my rent while I'm trying to DJ on Twitch because I don't want to give up this dream. What the fuck am I gonna do? It's really hard not to feel negative and have those feelings during times like that. So it's a little bit different now that I'm kind of through it, and I'm more grounded now. But yeah, it's a little bit easier having the wedding gig and the working for this company to look back on it and not have those negative feelings. Something that keeps me grounded is I started here in VRChat. When I first started DJing over my microphone in the Void Club, I was brand fucking new. My mixes were absolutely awful. You can go on my YouTube. I think the first mix that I ever uploaded to YouTube, they used when you entered the Void Club back in the day. It was the first mix you heard when you walked in the Void Club back in like 2016.
That was
17,
you?
whenever.
You were the
Yeah,
one? You were the Void Club guy?
that mix is awful. When I listen back to
Shut
it makes
up.
me,
Oh
dude,
my gosh.
it makes me sweat over how bad it was. But that was me as a new DJ, using this game as an outlet to learn in a very fun way. And it's not, there's two thought process behind this. As an OG DJ, I want to be booked and I want to keep playing because I've been here from the start. I've helped build this scene. I feel like I deserve to get booked. But at the same time, this is also a learning space. And other new DJs deserve to come in here and play to a crowd the same way that I did and learn how to DJ. It's almost kind of my job to move on to the next thing so other people can take my spot. So there's two ways of thinking about it. The most fun experience I could have is DJing from my bedroom. Like I would fuck packing up my equipment, moving it to somewhere else. I have to question what the crowd is going to be like if I'm going to get them up to dance. It sucks. I would love to just be in my bedroom DJing on Twitch every day, but realistically, it's not the same kind of money as DJing IRL could and should be once you eventually make it. I'm not even there yet. I'm hoping to eventually get there, but it's just I think it's time. I kind of come in and I do my pop-ups and I practice and I have fun with my community of people that come through, but at the same time, kind of leave the door open for the next person to come through.
You find that this is kind of the time now, now that you're seeing that the Twitch DJ program has kind of taken flight, as well as the VRChat community has literally exploded to the vast mass that it is. Do you think that now is a really valid time for you to do this?
I mean, the Twitch DJ program really didn't affect me too much. The Twitch DJ program came out like mid-wedding season for me. And the whole reason I even started working for this company in the first place is because my Twitch sub count had crashed severely. I was door dashing more than I was DJing because at that point, the less you're DJing, the worse your sub count gets. It had spiraled pretty bad where I knew it was kind of over in terms of Twitch and DJing paying my bills at that point. So moving over to the wedding company happened around the same time that my sub count had died. Enrolling in the DJ program on Twitch seemed like a pretty foolproof thing. Like it didn't matter to me. I wasn't making that much money off Twitch. Whatever the sub count difference was really didn't affect me. I was just using this for practice, for fun, and to do what I used to do. I'd rather be doing my streams on Twitch and doing what I used to do than playing a video game. This is just fun for me. It's practice. So it didn't really matter. Whatever I had to do to play on Twitch without getting, copyright striked, without any DMCA violations, it didn't really matter.
It's interesting how you were bringing up how it was back in the day comparable to what it is now. And there's lots of different things to kind of consider, especially when we are looking into the future and all of the different avenues that can aid you in success. And just as you were saying, that you have a huge passion for this, so much so that you do this as a job for weddings and performing for other events throughout the year. Basically whenever they sign you up, you go out there and do it, which we're going to talk a lot about going forward too, because I think there is a small fragile line of understanding where the people in VR chat want to DJ as a hobby, but then kind of move on as a professional. And all of this is kind of culminated. Everything is like, it's all in the same pot. It's melting. It's kind of like, forging a whole new thing. And we have to sit here and we have to kind of like get a good understanding of it, get based on it, and get our feet on the ground when it comes to all of this, because it's a lot to take on. You have, again, you have a lot of hungry people in here. They want to perform. You got a lot of people that perform on Twitch. But just as you were explaining too, it's the networking part that's always such a bother sometimes. And even in here, even in VR chat, and I'll go ahead and explain it because I think a lot of people also recognize it as well, is in VR chat, everything is a learning experience. Regardless if you're a professional, regardless if you're just starting, regardless if you're a weekend warrior or someone that performs here all the time and you know what you're doing, everybody's learning something brand new, something they could put to the table. On top of it too, a lot of these are trades that they could be using in the field. So we have these conversations about, is there a fine line between doing the things in here? Obviously, we were kind of talking about at the beginning of the program, how you used your experience in VR chat to get this job. And these are the things that we never hear about, like I think if people started to hear a little bit about it, they can take advantage of this and make something even more of it. And I know one of the other finer topics to discuss is when you perform in here, which we'll get to soon-ish, I guess. There's so much to talk about. There's really so much to talk about. But like kind of also it's in the same headspace as those people that are performing in here for the first time, and they get to experience having an empty room and having an empty hall. And in your headspace, you're constantly thinking the obvious, which is, some people are disinterested, or you've got a couple guys that are floating full body in the corner. They're not doing anything. They're either sleeping or they're too drunk, or I don't know, something stupid. We've all had to go through it. Yeah, we've all had to go through it. But it's a learning experience.
I still go through it. I still go through it.
It's time zones, I guess. I mean, that's a thing too. You have to promote yourself too. That's another fun thing. Oh no. Yes. Social simulation. You gotta promote yourself. But I mean, it's all the stuff that we learn, and not everybody can get it correct. And also the professionals that are DJing professionals, some much larger names, they come in here too. Have you not seen the video of Deadmau5? He was like an opener for a local bar and nobody showed up. And he was just sitting there smoking. And he was just like, well, I'm here, I'm performing. Nobody's here. And it was like, he had the biggest grin on his face because he could just like go in there and mess up and practice and play stupid stuff. And they're still paying him to be there, regardless if people recognize that he had to be there or not. So we take all of these things in here and try to like put a more positive spin on it to kind of aid in our successes. And because of your passion projects into leading into, doing this as a full-time career and getting these gigs, as well as some other gigs that I have listed here that we're going to talk a lot about because I'm interested. I know you read it and I'm interested because I'm a radio guy, but this is a very key integral part of the mechanical clock of the cogs. All the cogs need to fit. And just like networking, not everybody. it's my favorite joke. We're in a social simulator, virtual reality chat, and nobody wants to network. Nobody wants to talk. Yeah. Nobody wants to talk to each other. You know, people are so hesitant to kind of say something and take it out of context. And I'm just like, well, maybe you should start that ball rolling. If you really want to perform someplace, then you should probably go and do that. But
No, definitely.
you know, kind of talking a little bit about the IRL gigs. Obviously, you joining into this this business kind of got the ball rolling on this. And I noticed in my searches that you also were featured as a brief guest DJ on Fly 92, the radio station out of Albany. So let us know how that went.
No, that was super cool. I mean, Fly 92 was always the radio station that I grew up listening to. Back when I had like an MP3 player that could connect to radio, I was always falling asleep to Fly 92. They always had like the cool alternative rock and the good mix of the mainstream music back when I was a kid. So to be featured on that was super cool. What they do is the guy who runs the morning show 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. His name is Jake Allen. He's also a wedding DJ from my area. Great radio host, really cool guy. They do the Jake and Libby show. Super entertaining if you ever get to listen to that online, because I know not everyone's local, but you can go on their website and listen. But every Friday morning they do a little DJ feature where right at 9 a.m. where everyone's driving to work, they feature a local DJ to do a little mix on the air. It was a really cool time for me. They let me feature some of my house stuff. I asked them what they wanted. They told me I had complete freedom. Obviously, they like mainstream stuff, but to put my own spin on the mainstream stuff. So that was my first time really digging into my favorite house bootlegs that I can find. I know I do a lot of house bootlegs live now, but that really all kind of stemmed from doing that radio show, trying to make a mainstream spin-off of what my house music was that I was playing. Really cool that I know everyone, what was it, 150K people driving to work on a Friday at 9 a.m. were listening to some crazy house tunes.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of them flicked the radio off, and I don't care. Everyone that didn't flick the radio off, they're homies for that, and I hope they enjoyed it. But it was definitely interesting. It was fun. It was fun. I feel honored to get to put that kind of house vibe on the radio station that I grew up listening to, because it's definitely not normal.
That's
definitely not normal.
Yeah, it's super fun to see that too, because again, we're in a really weird time with radio, without me going too much into it and burning off all of our time. But we're in a weird area of radio where it's just like when you're in radio, it's all of a sudden you're popular. You know, you're a celebrity. So when you
gigs,
yeah. So when you do the celebrity stuff, it's like, oh, you need the key or the password to get into the building, and that's where all the music is. And you're on the radio. So giving those opportunities to local talent has always been, kind of priority number one. And on the radio, it is kind of, you're doing a service for the community, really. I mean, if you were to really think about it, a lot of when the electricity goes down and you need to know if the streets have been plowed or if the plows are coming out, you got to bust out the old radio with the batteries, because you'll at least get radio signal. They'll be able to tell you whether or not school's canceled or if they're going to work on that sort of stuff. But even then, for a service within the community, there should be more avenues for that. There should be more opportunities for that. And being able to showcase that's also showcasing to me that you're open to a lot more opportunities than the average individual that's even in here to begin with. So kudos to you for reaching out. That's what I'm saying is, like, there's not too many other people besides myself working in radio that have had those opportunities that you could perform on the radio, and having that a part of your resume is so killer diller, and being able to do that. And I think also too, kind of talking a little bit about it, was finding motivation in VRChat to add more to your resume and add more to the lineup of doing stuff business wise, i.e., making mixes daily or weekly, or practicing, not just doing live shows, but actually doing some skill work or maybe do some editing work and stuff like that. So I kind of want your opinion. Outside of what you normally do, whether or not you're getting ready for a live VRChat event, how do you normally practice? How do you normally enhance your skills and present it to potential clients?
I mean, a lot of the stuff I've been doing now, with the wedding work, has been pre-recorded. which, I'll record a mix and have to listen back to it and analyze every little thing, which makes it a little tough. I've noticed a little 5-song mix that's supposed to take me 5 minutes. Now all of a sudden it has taken me 4 hours because I've had to record it 20 times and I'm analyzing every little EQ and every little sound, trying to fill out every little space and make it perfect because I know it's going to be posted on the website. Clients are going to be looking at it, and it's it's a love, or it's a blessing and a curse. Those kind of sessions that I have really hone in on some serious skills. When you can sit there and really nitpick every little part of your mix, and then after a few runs, you finally nail it, and you've figured out how to fill out that space perfectly. You know how it sounds to the client. You've listened back to your own mix a lot, and you've nailed it perfect. I don't do it often, but I've noticed that when I do it, it's some of the best practice I could have. I mean, as someone that normally freestyles everything on stream, and I don't listen back to most of it, those times when I have to do something for the company and pre-record something, and I'm really nitpicking it and have to re-record it a million times, that's some serious practice that I don't get too often. And I would advise everyone who doesn't do stuff like that to do it more often. To the DJs who only stream, who don't really put much practice sessions in, just take 30 minutes and pre-record a mix and listen back to it and analyze every little thing. Figure out how you could fill out the spaces better, really nitpick it. And don't let it bother you. Just use it as a productivity tool, as a little self-criticism.
Now, for the website, do you have to kind of update that monthly, or do you just kind of do it whenever you get an opportunity to?
Yeah. I mean, however many mixes, we have free reign over that.
Nice. So kind of leaning into like the VRChat community, and obviously you've kind of already seen a little bit of what's been happening in the past couple of years. I'll say even just kind of since 2023, let's just say. A lot of IRL events, a lot of regular VRChat weekly events. It's not even, it's more like daily events at this point in time. But you got a lot of people that are performing. What do you think the average VRChat DJ should be doing to promote themselves better outside of just performing?
Fuck it. I know, dude. I mean, I'm guilty of that. The only thing I ever do anymore is get in VRChat and perform. I mean, back in the day when my Twitch was at the peak of what it was was big just getting into VRChat every day. Talking to people who come to your streams, talking to going to other clubs and going to other parties, and just being more than just a DJ in VRChat is a really big thing. At least it was for me back in the day. I just don't have a lot of time now, which is unfortunate. But
yeah,
it's definitely just getting in VRChat is important. That's it. You just gotta talk to the people, man. You gotta talk to the people.
That's another fun thing to think about too with VRChat. Just over the,
I could just have 1 second. I'm running to the bathroom. 30
seconds.
Sure,
30 seconds. Another fun thing about VRChat in the community too is just how active everybody does tend to be within performing and getting their time in the sunlight. And what's so interesting is just, again, the fact that the networking exists. And I think a lot of people are taking advantage of that. I think a lot of people are coming on and they're showcasing a lot of their talents. But outside of those talents, there's so many other things that could potentially be done that could aid in further successes. I know recently even before we even started the show, we were talking a little bit about, I got my sickness from MagFest this past weekend. I got to perform for like a 30-minute pop-up, but there were still other opportunities for me to network and perform out there as well. And I feel like the reason why we bring up MagFest is because there is such a really big calling for VRChat at MagFest in Maryland, in the DC area. And they want to showcase the DJs. They want to be able to go out there and perform for their friends. But at the same time, too, you never know who's watching. You never know who's going to be there. And there were a bunch of people that actually showed up that were part of the VRChat community that we didn't even know they were going to show up. So it was kind of fun for them to come in and be like, wait a minute, you're performing. I got to go and watch this. So you also, but yeah, that's the thing though, is like, I think most of the time you do have to kind of, prepare yourself a little bit, have your Mixcloud up. You got to get your SoundCloud going. You got to use all the social media apps that you got because they're free for now.
Yeah.
That's
I
how they
mean,
were.
Mixcloud used to be free.
Yeah, well, you could post like nine mixes at a
Yeah.
time or something, which is
Now there used to be a
nine
point,
more.
every stream. So I mean, back in the day, I used to 3 hours for DDVR every Saturday. I used to spend all week prepping 90 new tracks for that 3 hour set that I would do. And then I would spend every Sunday clipping the set and uploading it everywhere, to YouTube, SoundCloud, Mixcloud, everything I could. I did that for like 3 or 4 years and nothing ever got traction. Eventually, all these places started charging for shit, and I just kind of fell off the bandwagon. I don't know. I feel like I did everything I could, and I just I was bad at it. I guess I was bad at it. I wasn't doing something right.
Yeah, but at least you got some practice with that, though. That's not even just a matter of if you think that you weren't good or people didn't believe that you were good. It was just a matter that you got that practice in. And it's kind of the same thing. I don't know. It's a little wholesome for me because I'll go see someone perform in VRChat, which has they don't normally perform. And they went up there and they said how much they messed up or whatever, but their friends swarmed them anyway and kind of been like, oh, we're cheering you on. And I know you messed up a little bit tonight, but don't worry about it. It's perfectly okay. And maybe that is the type of community that you were hoping to have at the beginning of it all. And kind of going
100%.
back and forth from what we were just talking about with that earlier is just being able that the times have changed since what it was like several years ago with all the gatekeeping. Gatekeeping was such a, like, I don't even want to say the term because there's a lot of people cringing right now just because of gatekeep. Oh my gosh, gatekeep. But I will say this, and I don't know if you've gotten a chance to experience this yet, but it was this past year that I got to get introduced to the Europeans and the people from Amsterdam. Excuse me. And we were hanging out in an instance, and all the time, first of all, they kind of recognized me for the meme, and I was like, okay, cool, great. But at the same time, too, they were like, can we be friends? And your instant thought is, well, no, I don't know. It's like, I don't know, I just met you. And they made a very valid argument, and it's just the Europeans that do this. And they go, well, why is it so difficult? We're going to be in the same instances all the time. We might as well get to know each other now. And I'm like,
I can be friends with anyone.
Yeah, like that is so dope. And I kind of had to lower my guard a little bit because, again, there's that notion of you being in here for such a long time, while some people are just like, well, I don't want to hire him because he's such an OG DJ kind of a thing. But at the same time, too, like there's a
if that's
whole
anyone's vibe, I would be surprised. I mean, I would hope that's not the case.
Well, there's still a ton of people in here that like Miss Stabby does a lot of gigs. I think she also does. If people ask her to perform, she'll do it if she has the time.
I haven't heard her name in a while.
It's Lumi. Again, he apparently did a stream today. I don't know what he was doing. He was doing something. But that dude was running around at TwitchCon. Not this previous year, but the year before that, and he was having fun. I'll just say it like that. So he still wants to do stuff in the scene, but he's also kind of recognized the fact that there's a lot going on. The same thing with Tonki, Tonki, and we'll talk a little bit
Tonki's
about
an OG.
Music Vket as well. Believe it or not, the Tonki made our theme for VRCDJLIVE. So
that's sick.
An original tune from Tonki. So it's just like
Tonki's a good producer.
All of these things, come into play, especially when we do come in here to perform. And I think a lot of people they don't want to take that extra initiative to like take a step back and see how it used to be comparable to where it is now and more hungry people. But seeing that we're kind of already on the topic a little bit about it, one of the really big, still most talked about events was the Music Vket Zero that Virtual Market put on many moons ago. And how it was supposed to be at one place, ended up being at Miss Stabby's Syntax Error. And I don't know if you've heard any of this information, but every time I talk with Lund, he has nothing but amazing things to talk about that event that we held at the Syntax Era that night. So, how did you even get invited to go perform for Music Vket Zero, and what, if you could remember that far back ago?
I think Miss Stabby hit me up. I can't remember who originally reached out to me. I think it was a random DM from someone I didn't know. At the time, it probably was Lund. I think it was probably a recommendation from Miss Abby or someone else, but that was like that was something from the win. Like how a lot of these at this point, again, I don't play VR chat really at all. I don't have a ton of time between work and raising my daughter, but it's just whatever comes to me in DMs on Discord is really where I get anything from. Of the past like 4 years, I would say it's all from that. I think I got like a random DM from Lun, and I didn't know who he was back then. He asked me if I could play for this VR chat festival that he had going on, and I think it came back that Miss Tabby had told him to hit me up, if I'm remembering that correctly. I mean, I could be incorrect on that. It was a very, very long time ago. But it was definitely something like that, definitely. And it was I'm very lucky for that. I'm super, super lucky for that. I don't take things like that for granted. That's super cool.
I know ever since the kind of the inception of virtual market, or conception of virtual market, it's a little bit of both. The fact that there were a lot of people, too many chefs in the kitchen, kind of a thing. So I think that there were a couple of people that were trying to handle biz. It never got handled, so then they pushed it on someone else to try to handle the biz. So I think that's kind of how that shaped up. Was I got recommended by somebody, and then they recommended me to do the thing too. But I don't know if you've ever heard of the resolution of that night, but apparently, according to Lun, it kind of kick-started to where virtual market is today, on its sheer massive size, as well as it was that night alone that gained the interest of the Teriyaki Boys, who came in the second year to do a live show in VR chat.
Can you update who is I'm unfamiliar.
They did the Tokyo Drift song.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so they came in.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
They came in to do a live show at Virtual Market too. So it was because of our show at the Syntax era that they showed it off to a bunch of people, and they
put them up, Rob.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, cool. You got to do some cool stuff in here, and we have to recognize it. There's a lot of DJs that come in here and they perform, but they don't realize what kind of weight that they actually put into it until they do. And this is kind of a nice kind of a point to the general public of DJs in VR chat, that like, if you think that your weight isn't recorded in VR space at all, you're plenty wrong, man. You got to come in and you perform. You don't know who's watching. You don't know if there's going to be a big time talent or something like that who's coming in to enjoy your scene and the things that you've done.
No, 100%.
So I know we're gonna talk a little bit about family life, and I know this is something that is kind of a hushed upon topic here. But talk to us a little bit the past couple of years, and your daughter, and how all of this kind of came to be. Did you just ended up taking some time away from VR chat to focus on family stuff?
I mean, ultimately, luckily my wife has always been super, super good. I mean, we were, again, to reiterate, we were in it together the first few months, and when I realized that this was something that I want to do, like I'm super serious about this, she had started to lose interest in it, was when I fully took over, instead of us kind of like just doing it together for some fun. At that point, she's always been the most supportive person ever. There have been times when DJing has made us a lot of money, and I'm pulling most of the bills, and then there are times when I make no money, and she's pulling the bills for me and supporting me. So she's always been there for me since day one, allowing this to happen. But it's tough because when the daughter was born, it was this rough boundary of I had to learn how to be there for myself while also be there for her, because you want to be the best father ever, and you want to just be 24/7 there, but it's not healthy for you or for Janora, but my daughter's name. I had to learn how to take some time for myself and do my own thing. I really didn't stream much the first year that she was born, just because I was the Monday through Friday caretaker for Janora, and my wife would go to work. I would stream on the weekends when I could, or I would do a wedding, once every few weeks, and that would be all I needed. But I was the full-time caretaker, and for a year I felt like I didn't really do anything but that. And it took me about a year for me to realize again that I gotta start taking time for myself. So I started streaming a little bit more. It's kind of been, again, I think a lot of the reason why it's tough for me to get booked right now is because I've had so much up and down uptime in my career. I'll be like, hey, I'm back. I'm available for bookings. I'm trying to get into it again. And then Janora is born. And then I take another step back. And then a year later, hey, I'm back. I'm available for bookings again. And then, it doesn't work out. I'm not making enough money. So then I go to work for Empire. And now it's wedding season again. Sorry, all these again. Every time anyone hits me up, I'm sorry. I'm taking a step back. Like I have said no the past 3 gigs. I'm not gonna be able to really say yes at all this wedding season. Like I'm out the count for a little bit. So it's been hard to kind of let people know that I'm back. There's that handful of communities that know that I'm back, and they book me consistently every weekend, and I enjoy playing for them. I get good numbers playing for them, and that's kind of where I stay in my own little pocket because of that. But it was definitely a struggle trying to figure out the DJ career with the daughter, learning how to balance time. Ups and downs, but daughter comes first. Ultimately, DJing will always be here. I can always come back to this. My daughter is only this age for so long. I got 5 years to live this best life. I got the best job ever. DJing is the dream job, but currently I have the best job ever, which is being a stay-at-home dad, and I only get to do this for 5 years. She's going to be going to school soon, and at that point, it's all over. I can come back to this then. So this is the priority. But doing the best to try and make it both work. Getting better at it.
And then when she goes to kindergarten and like preschool, then it's like you're back to having all of that time again, and you're just like,
exactly.
What is this?
Yeah,
but
hopefully we can make something of it.
Yeah, and this time must be super interesting too, because these are kind of the talks that we just don't normally get on this program, just because like when we do have DJs on here and we do talk a little bit about the scene, we don't actively talk about personal lives. Obviously in VRChat, everybody's kind of like, we've got a persona going, we've got the way that we showcase what we do here. And then when we try to talk a little bit about it, you talk to mom and dad about what you're doing here. It's just kind of like, you're a girl in VRChat, but you're a guy here. But at the same time, my
grandparents have been pushing me off this outlet since day one. My grandfather is always, every second, you need a job? I can get you a job at a union. Like, what are you doing? Like, you need a job? Like, Grandpa, trust me, I got it. I'll be okay.
Dude, no joke. I mean, I'll say it too, that my father is in the same boat, and like, thankfully I have supportive parents, but obviously in VRChat, there really aren't as lucky people to have support in their family life to accommodate that. But it's kind of a weird career choice and understanding to the fact that you want to perform. And I'll hit you up with this too, because now that you know that the VRChat DJ scene is starting to kind of lift off, the fact that you are performing a little bit more, you're taking the bookings in VRChat, obviously you're doing this stuff with Empire, and you want to continue on with this, is it going to be a matter of selling yourself as a VRChat as well, comparable to an IRL stuff?
I mean, I like to think that if I can continue on the path that I'm currently doing, that I can kind of create 2 different careers out of it. I've done a pretty good job of separating them so far. I have my life on like the music that when I mean by my life, I mean my music life. The music that I play on stream that I would advertise to Discord and Twitter is very different than the music that I play IRL that I would advertise to IRL venues or clients, or it's essentially like I'm pushing 2 different businesses. I've got like the EDM style that I push through VRChat and Twitch and those socials. So then I've got the open format, more mainstream style mixing that unfortunately makes me more money IRL that I push through those socials. So, I mean, it's not really what I want to do. I did have a club residency for the first time I ever got booked for a club residency straight out of my bedroom was for a more club style. I got to play like the open format, but mainly house bootlegs. A little bit of hip hop, a little bit of house bootlegs. It was a good time, but that was the most kind of EDM I've ever gotten to do IRL. So unfortunately, I realized pretty quickly that the really those private gigs where you gotta play the really mainstream stuff is where the money's at. And fortunately, I got rent to pay and car payment and a expensive 2-year-old. So I had to do it. I kind of had to separate the 2 styles and separate the 2 companies, so to say, because I had to go through the process of forming 2 LLCs for this, so I definitely have put the time in to try and separate them. For sure.
I know with the birth of the Creator Club, the Twitch Creator Club, as well as the Twitch DJ program, we're starting to learn a lot about the different, not only DJs, IRL DJs, but the DJ economy on Twitch. And I don't know if you've been able to kind of eyeball that and the discords that they have currently, but it's kind of being separated based off of IRL DJs, Final Fantasy 14 online DJs, and VRChat DJs. And the fun thing to think a little bit about all three of those programs is we already have kind of an economy going on in here. There's not really a paid economy. I mean, it's set up. I mean, we have the VRChat V-Bucks, but not sure how to use them quite yet. You're looking like you don't know that.
No.
Well, we call them V-Bucks, so not V-Bucks, but like there's an actual economy that you can, it's a subscription economy in VRChat now. So, so people can subscribe to be a part of your group or specific, I know, the Black Cat does that now. The Black Cat, if you go to the Black Cat, you can experience the Black Cat. But we already know, for those people that don't know, in the Black Cat, if you go under the stairs, you'll find the goose. For like $2, you can give the goose an outfit.
Oh, okay.
So it's a tip. It's a tip to the creator, and the creator will make more content for that world. Okay. So a lot of content creators in this space will also set up subscription services based on
that's interesting.
Whitelisting for events or special events that, like, you know, kind of like if you do a subscriber only chat, follower chat. They integrated that. And to also that too, they were also trying to implement that into. It's funny that we're talking about this because it's been around for at least like a year, and the clubs have
not the game. I don't play VRChat
but
anymore.
that's the thing though, is like clubs know about this, but they don't implement it because they think that this is supposed to just be a free space, and the fact that it kind of goes.
It is.
Yeah,
but it's on a donation base.
Mm-hmm.
You're never expected to go and gift a DJ subs or gift a donation. If you really like the DJ and if you happen to have the spare cash and you're wanting to do so, it's greatly appreciated, and it happens occasionally. But that same outlet should be available for world creators, because DJs aren't the only people doing work in this space. So I love to hear that.
Yeah, it's a weird disconnection between everything because of the fact that we actually were talking to Subsystem, we were talking to Ministry, we were also talking with Baptism, because while that implication is there, that you're right, you know, there's still a ton of people behind the scenes that are making, you know, all the pieces work. So it's not even just a matter of paying the DJs. So while it's been set up, nobody's used it yet. It's been a year. Okay. Nobody's really used it within the the DJ community. And it's funny that we bring this up too, because again, age verification just came out for realsies, but it's tied in with VRC Plus, with VRChat Plus. So if you get the VRChat Plus, then you can get verified for 18 plus events, or spicier events, as they would probably say. But within our community, we were discussing this, saying it may not happen. Like for us, you know, for other groups, maybe if you're doing some spicier content, if you're doing some lewd stuff, if you're doing some like naked stuff or like ERP, I could see that. But, you know, tying for one event within our community to be exclusive 18 plus, there's really not enough. There's not enough content in our community that verifies 18 plus outside of actually physically drinking beer in a virtual space, which is just not a thing.
That's exactly.
So these are the things that we kind of talk a little bit about and kind of get prepared for, but also too, we kind of feed into like, again, within the IRL DJ community, within the VRChat community, and with the Final Fantasy 14 online community, which again, if you haven't seen the DJs on Final Fantasy 14 online, they have an economy. They get paid in gil, which is their currency, the in-game currency, and apparently it's it's a big thing. Like you could, as a DJ, I don't know, I don't remember what the actual denominations are. You could walk away with 1 million gil to perform one night. There's no in-world video player, so you kind of have to stream it on Twitch. But people are doing that. You know, people are actively DJing in virtual reality and like getting noticed as part of their career. So here's where it all kind of ties together, especially like trying to formulate a plan for your career, and especially kind of dipping into the Twitch DJ program. This is something that we're kind of constantly talking about, is at what point in time would it be acceptable for a VRChat DJ to be able to have the same weight as an IRL DJ comparable to a Final Fantasy 14 online DJ? We all do the same thing. It's just a matter of, well, do you see a virtual body? Do you see an IRL body? Or do you see NPCs that look like they're from World of Warcraft jumping up and down doing this? You know?
No, I mean, it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. Every DJ is doing the same exact thing, no matter, I mean, reading the dance floor is obviously a little bit different, depending on what outlet you're doing it from, but essentially we're all kind of doing the same job here, and there's a lot of different platforms and a lot of different outlets and a lot of different groups of people that need music. So, you know, power to everyone finding their own little niche. 100%.
Well, I'm just kind of interested because of the fact that, like, there are genuinely people, and we've talked to a couple of people the past couple of months, who are trying to use their experience in VRChat to grow their personal brand, you know, in the field. And it's difficult to be like, well, this is what I look like in virtual reality. Let's just take me for an example. You know, in reality, I'm some 260-pound bald man. And I don't look like this at all. But so when I try to market this, it's a little difficult compared to, you know, a bald guy. But at the same time too, it's just like, people need to understand what we do in here, and people need to understand that it has weight, it has significance. But I would love your opinion on it. We have to try to figure out a good way to start promoting this. You know, if we're going to actually take 2025 by the reins and really cook and kind of get this started, where do you think we should start with this?
Well, I mean, I'll just get the elephant out. It's kind of hard to market VRChat currently. And how do I word it? The mainstream will never come into VRChat with how like lewd VRChat currently is. I'm just going to be honest. I'm a pretty big normie. I am. A lot of my friends are big normies, and when I tell them I DJ in VRChat, I get that look. With how lewd and sexual VRChat is currently, it will never get the mainstream attention that DJs currently would like or strive for. That's just the truth. Secondary, it's learning how to build a translatable brand as a DJ. Essentially, I learned early on that your brand is not your VRChat character. Your brand is you. I made that mistake early on. I've spent years correcting it, and I've now built a brand online that I could use to market IRL. It's just about, I think, being who you are and being transparent is super important, and that will only lead to building an interchangeable brand. I know not everyone's willing to do that, so it just really depends on what your goals are. That's it.
It's kind of a smart way of trying to take a look at it too, just because we spend a lot of time in here. We do a lot of different events in here, and within our small bubble and understanding celebrity status based on our small village, you know, it always seems like we're always excuse me again. It always seems like we're high in the clouds. You know, we're celebrity status. Everybody knows us. Everybody loves us, and everything's going to come to us on a gold platter, I guess. When in reality of it all is now you have to fight against people that have never heard of you, you know, at IRL stuff. And you also have to and that, I guess that's the tricky part, right? And it's something that a lot of us don't think about too much, is that I think that in VRChat, we are a little comfortable. You know, I think being able to perform for like-minded people, there's a bunch of people that genuinely you're just like, you know, you could literally play anything and then they'll be fine. You know, like this is the space for that. And it's nice to be able to play a genre and be able to do that.
100%.
But testing yourself against people that have never seen you, heard of you, and you have to set the tone based on their body movements and their thought processes and stuff. is something. Did you need to take a step away?
Yeah, you gave me my body language.
Right.
Yeah. You just gave me 30 seconds.
Sure, absolutely. And these are the things that we're constantly talking about too, when it comes to understanding the relationship that we have between the DJs that we have on Twitch and the DJs that we have in the virtual space, even the DJs that perform in Final Fantasy. Like, that's something that I think a lot of us recognize, but we really don't want to go down that avenue right quite yet, because while you can be popular in there, do they actively get jobs by performing in virtual reality? I'm sorry, virtual in Final Fantasy, because, and these are the things that I've been kind of, eyeballing to, is the fact that, and Sari ended up saying it the best way too, is, it's something that we don't want to hear, but it's something that I think that we actively need to keep in mind, which is, while we do have a thing going on in here, the things that go on in here really aren't going on out there. So we kind of have to have two different avenues of how we handle business, where if you're going to perform IRL in front of a bunch of people, you need to hyper focus in on the stuff that you perform out there. Comparable in VRChat, I think a lot of people would recognize you from a specific thing or style or an image, and then you have to set yourself up to have success that way. And it's almost kind of the same thing with the Twitch DJ program, how they were saying that we don't you can be a full-time DJ on Twitch, but if you play variety games, you are recommended, you don't have to, you're recommended to make a secondary channel for your variety gaming, so that way you're not succumbing to so you're not succumbing to the premium, the being able to pay off the premium, which, funny enough, I don't know if you knew, that's something that I decided to take off too. I was like, you know what, I'm going to make a secondary channel, and this isn't it. This is something else. But like, you have the Rob Roman's voice channel for the DJing, and then you have another channel of mine for variety gameplay. But if you were to really think about it too, that, you get your regular revenue out of that, but you have to work even harder, because now you have to develop an even more schedule that you have to commit to kind of balance everything. And while overall it seems like a lot of work, that's the problem. The work, I think, again, it's not even just a matter of me sitting here like a boomer just being like, oh, the kids these days don't want to work. It's just like, there's so many avenues that we can be taking in here to promote ourselves a little bit better and a little bit easier. I don't know if you know of a guy named Mystery Skulls. Makes a lot of music. He's a producer. He makes some albums. The boy performed in Alabama at Comic-Con High. I was out there performing in October, and he had a visual. He had several visuals, but he had one visual that blew my mind, and it made me think a lot about my visuals moving forward. And that was, I can't showcase it because my boobs aren't big enough in this, but it was a negative screen of a wireframed avatar, a girl avatar, with jiggle physics on the boobs, and she was doing this like dance routine kind of a thing, but the boobs were really jiggly. Yep. Yeah. So most of the time, despite the fact that I'm sitting there listening to the music, I'm looking at the screen being like, everybody can get down with this. And I'm like, we have the technology to do this. Why am I not doing this?
That's not the kind of shit people want to see when they go out to the club where I'm from. I don't know. That's not the kind of shit I can market. That's the kind of shit I'm trying to stay away from that. That's exactly what I mean. Like, it's too lewd. It's too sexual.
It's an anime convention. So, you already know waifu status is going to be up on the screen. But like, you can really, people are still engaged in 3D technology. And just the fact that, that you're 3D. I can't say you're 2D. I'm not even 2D. I'm 3D. But like, you're a real boy talking to a girl in VR right now. So it's just like, we're having these types of conversations. It's just that people should be using this technology more, and having these conversations is super important to understand, of how you were saying that, while we have a life in VRChat and we've gained a lot of notoriety in here, comparable to something that you would do IRL, is there a way that we can cross-pollinate to make it worth our while?
I mean, that's a I wish I had the golden ticket for that question. I mean, I'll be super honest that I thought like it's 2025. I thought by now something incredible would have happened. The visions that I had for the future when I first got into this were I had grandiose visions of some crazy stuff happening. The fact that none of that has happened, and so I mean, some of it did happen, and again, another level of disappointment that I wasn't the person to do it. A lot of laziness, a lot of just not taking the time to brainstorm, like not being creative about it. I think there's endless opportunity here, and if you get the right people involved, dude, there's so many people to network and so many people looking to dance and do something cool. It's just, I don't know what that cool idea is. It's been years and it hasn't come to me, but I still have hope for something really cool that's gonna, whether it's, I don't even know. I can't think. So, I know like Couchlands does the streaming on Twitch. Imagine a platform and it sounds impossible. And I guess that's always been the issue. My brain has always gone to bigger type events, which has always been limited to the amount of people per world. That's always been the limiting factor in the type of grandiose visions I have for VR. Is how do we get like thousands of people into an instance that looks like a real life festival? Or like you just can't do it. You like, well, we did the Vket. There were like 4 different instances going. That's not the same thing. It's not. So yeah, I guess we're kind of limited by technology. I guess my grandiose visions that I had years ago are still kind of limited by that same technology. But we'll see what the future holds, and we'll keep clinging and keep hoping that we do something cool. I don't know. We'll keep having these visions, and maybe the time will be right eventually. We'll keep at it.
This is VRCDJLIVE. We're sitting here with Sari, and again, if you're in chat and you want to hang out with us and kind of give us your questions for Sari, we're here for another 20 minutes or so, answering some of your questions and kind of talking a little bit about how our community's kind of doing its thing. And I know that you were bringing it up, the fact that, like, again, making festivals in VR chat and being able to hit that cap of 80 people. Obviously, recently, I think as of a couple of months ago, they tested out a 90 cap during New Year's. They had a 120
cool,
cap.
Okay.
And I still haven't really heard to see how that 120 cap held on during New Year's. But also, again, I don't know if you're well aware of this, but there had been up to about 12 to 13 IRL VR chat meetups around the world with some real big DJ talent. And I know we kind of talk a lot about it too, just because, again, we're in a weird scenario where it's not even just a matter of coming in to perform. You got some people that are really itchy. They want to go out. They want to test the business skills. They want to test to see if they could do it. Getting sponsorships, to get to be able to get a venue, sell tickets, get people to come to the show, let alone, buying alcohol and enjoying yourself. And that's kind of a weird off topic to be talking a little bit about too, just because we're constantly talking about that. I know for in a couple of weeks, we're going to be talking with a group who will not only be celebrating their 5-year anniversary, but they're making a really big event happening out in Amsterdam. And they really want this big festival thing to kind of go off. But at the same time, it is their first IRL gig. It's their first IRL show. So for them to be piecing it together and getting an understanding of how that goes, comparable to some of the clubs that are actively doing it and showcasing their skills in doing that, we have these talks about if that is going to be the new norm in the new year, to continue to push that idea that we're going to just, go to a destination event. It's not even just a matter of meeting up at Ultra. Sure.
Give me the logistics of this. They're doing their 5-year anniversary and they're meeting up at one place. They're all from around the world. Are they selling local tickets and bringing people who are not from VR into the club? How is that working?
So the way that they are setting it up is they basically, since their group is focused in Europe, they're going to be kind of focusing on selling tickets in the Europe area, Amsterdam, Germany, Austria, Vienna, UK, Scotland, Ireland, stuff like that. Obviously, people can fly over there to go see the show, but a lot of the VRChat DJs that are in that area are going to be going to perform. So that's kind of what they're doing, is they're finding crowdfunding or selling pre-sale tickets to hopefully
that's what I was wondering, is how do they
combat
cover
the cost.
venue costs?
Yeah. Obviously, we're going to be talking with them in a couple of weeks to kind of get a good general basis. But I think a lot of some of the complications that I've run into, because I do the same thing in San Diego for TwitchCon. I put together a show called Dead Man's Party, where I have to upfront the cost of the venue, and then kind of get an idea of who's going to come and perform, but also just use every outlet possible to get to know if people are interested in coming out to the shows. But that's the thing too, is that it's all good business practice and getting a better understanding. And just that alone is a little mind numbing, because it's like, I don't know if we're prepared enough. I think we've had a couple of groups in here say it might be a little ambitious to be able to start a project like that, but people are hungry. People want to do IRL stuff, but they also want to use their branding to go with it.
To me, it seems hard to, if you're going to host an IRL VR chat show, it just seems difficult. Everyone's from different parts of the world, and to get everyone to fly out to one single show seems like an impossible task. You go into selling IRL tickets to cover the cost of the venue. Then you're pulling people into the venue who are not from VR, who are unrelated to the party, who might look at it as a little foreign. Again, you could go, you can go at the promotional company and book a really high-end talent, which is going to bring mainstream people into the club, which will cover ticket and venue costs. But at that point, how much of a VR chat gig is it really anymore? So I've been trying to do this for a long time. Asking the questions that I haven't been able to bridge. So I'm curious how they conquer and overcome that. I'm not really sure how you do that.
I think a lot of it too, and this is just something we constantly talk a little bit about, is gaining some sort of revenue from it. And I think everybody is kind of always in the red, just because it's kind of a passion project to do. Same thing with virtual reality. If you come into VR chat, you're going to buy the $1,000 headset. You're going to buy the full body trackers. You're going to get the big beefy PC. For what? You just play a free game, a free simulation. We've all been down that road.
True. That's true.
But one of the things that I've been finding when it comes to me putting together Dead Man's Party is this previous year, we actually were able to pay the venue via our sponsor. Our sponsor ended up giving us the funding.
That's sick.
For the whole venue, which was just such a delight. Because they've been such a real help for our cause and us having a good time safely, comparable to some of the other things that you may have heard at TwitchCon recently. That was a little outrageous. But that's the thing, though, is that in VR chat, it's a learning thing. Again, we were just talking about how everybody's learning, everybody's making mistakes, and everybody's trying to talk to each other. But there are certain groups that try to set that bar really high to be like, well, if they're doing it, then we got to do it too, and we got to see if we can maximize our sales. But in reality, it's kind of true. It's kind of true that nobody's really making money off of this. If you do an event and you sell tickets and you break even, whoo, you succeeded. That is straight up. Like if you no harm, no foul. You did it, pack it up, you're good. But if you constantly lose money from it, then you kind of have to reconsider the reasons why you're doing it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, kind of enjoy it. No,
that's true.
Yeah, so we kind of always have these conversations too, just because again, this seems like a newer concept for you. I know recently for TEDx's crew, he usually puts together a show called Unearth, and Unearth usually gets situated a few days before Liquidity in Amsterdam. So it's kind of like, everybody's flying out to Amsterdam, going to the show, do the show, and then everybody from the show goes to Liquidity.
That makes sense. There you go.
So stuff like that, I think a lot of people
smart as fuck. Oh my God, that's so smart.
Yeah. So people are starting to kind of figure it out. But at the same time too, I think people are genuinely saying it like, I can make a career out of this. I could make this into a really big space that I think a lot of people might really enjoy. And so I'm hoping that's a good motivation for you too, especially as, again, you're getting back into the game. You people should be watching you, twitch.tv/ Sorry, XO.
I'll be live after this.
That's what I'm saying. That's you go live, and I'll raid you. I'll raid into you. How about that? That seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
So understanding all of that, as well as the new Twitch economy with the Creator Club and the DJ program, especially the DMCA free premium that we're constantly buying into. I think we're doing it, but at the same time, I think we're not there until we realize that we fully ramped up into that 50%, 50/50 premium cost.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think there's definitely going to be an amp up period, but there's also a lot of room after to grow too, for sure.
Now, before we get on out of here, I do have a kind of a quick hot take for you, just because, again, well, we were recently talking about it. We were recently talking about it, and I know we were kind of going halfsies on it, just because, just as you've seen, as a lot of people in chat have seen, that on YouTube there's just a lot of VRChat garbage. There's a lot of VRChat garbage. Oh. There's a lot of noise on the category on Twitch. With your lewd models, there's nothing wrong with furries, but there's a lot of furries now. But like, and being able to showcase your skills as a DJ, comparable to even like, let's just say this program on YouTube, comparable to all of the clickbaity, negative news type of outlets that you can see up on YouTube. What do you think is something that we should be doing this new year, to showcase the DJs a little bit better and have a better light for VRChat this year?
I mean, it's tough. That's a really tough and open-ended / loaded question. So I'm gonna try and answer it as cleanly as possible. I mean, you got one side. People just want to come into VRChat and fucking hang out. That's it. People want to be who they want to be. They want to come into VRChat and they want to hang out. And the average Joe is not thinking about what is marketable. They're not thinking about what they look like on stream, on a DJ stream. You know, that's just, and they shouldn't be. Respectfully, they shouldn't be. Not their job. But as a DJ, you spend, in my case and a lot of other people's cases, years here practicing, and you build an audience here on Twitch or in VR. And I don't know, as a normie, it was hard to market that IRL. There were a few DJs that I became friends with after going out to their sets, buying them drinks, and really trying to network with them IRL. I became friends with them and felt comfortable bringing them over to my house again to introduce them into Twitch and whatnot. I never posted it on Instagram. I don't post on my socials when I'm going live. I always felt like a different world that the normies would not feel comfortable with. And I'm not really sure what it would. I know there was that huge VRChat boom. 2022 Oculus is now out. It doesn't cost $1,000 to buy an OG Vive, and you don't have to have a supercomputer anymore. But there's something that holds the mainstream back from VRChat right now, and I really do think it's just a normie comes into VRChat and feels so out of place. As a normie who DJs in VRChat, it definitely, it's hard to market to my normie friends or my normie audience on my socials, and I'm not really sure how to bridge that. Again, I think it just has to do with a lot of the over sexuality and lewdness that happens in VRChat. And again, people can be what they want to be. It's like, it's not their job to deal with that. It's mine. So, and I'm not throwing shade or anything. It's where my mind is. It would be easier if it was more realistic. You know, like when you go out to the club, there's people hanging out in like normal clothes and normal human avatars, and it's not the case here. It's like more anime based and more undergroundish. Like it's hard to bridge the gap. I don't know. I don't have the answer for that. I don't. I think it's going to take years and years and years of continuing on the path that we've already been on. I think it's only opened up. We had the same conversation earlier. It's only gotten more mainstream. Be more DJs, more people, more clubs, more types of music. It's only grown. So the more it continues to grow, the more everyone will be able to find their own individual outlets where they feel comfortable. So
I think it's
we
also
need to continue on the path we're on.
I think it's also kind of difficult because of the fact of the underground scene. I think a lot of people, when they do come in here and they want to experience not really edginess, I keep using the word edginess, and that's not really the term that I'm going for, but something that's a little out of their norm, something that they wouldn't be able to experience safely. IRL. That's like going to the UK. It's like flying. It's like an American flying to the UK trying to find the jungle scene. Where's the jungle? Where's the UK jungle? And then it leads you down some weird, dirty cobblestone path, and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna die here. So giving them that opportunity in here to do that is so unique, but at the same time too, it's just like, you know, it's safe. It's weird to say. It's safe. And giving those people that opportunity to come in here to do that is kind of unique, but also troublesome, because outside of that, there's no really room to grow, because you have this underground vibe that only you and a select amount of people will know about, and you either outgrow it and make your own thing, or you're constantly there. I have a best friend from high school who I cursed her demise because she was a singer in a cover band, but she didn't want to grow. She just wanted to sing in a cover band. She would do covers.
Okay.
Her now husband, is a sound engineer for the bar.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So I told her, I'm like, you're going to be the bar wench. You are going to be at the bar all the time. And wouldn't you believe it? She's still there. So
I mean, tips.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you know, if that's something that you want to do, I mean, you either stay there or you move on, you grow and stuff like that. So it's going to be a matter of safety and understanding of how you want to grow, comparable to what you want to do here. We're just got a few more minutes here on the program. Is this a podcast? It is a live show. Look at that. See, unfortunately, we are coming down to the few couple of minutes, but you're more than welcome to ask any questions here for Sari, who's a DJ in VRChat, and or any questions about VRChat here. And then before we even pack up here, I kind of want to ask, so what's the future for Sari? What do we got to look forward to this year that you can kind of let us know some other cool things you got cooking?
Fuck, man. I mean, I'm continuing on the grind. Daughter is turning 3 this year, so I got another 2 years of the stay-at-home gig. I'm gonna be DJing on the weekends when I don't have weddings. I'm hoping the company hooks me up with a lot of weddings. That way I could get my daughter all the nice toys she ever wants. But
there you go.
You know, on all the same vibes. I'm just hoping to DJ a lot on stream. Hoping I get that time to do it. Also hoping I get an equal amount of weddings to pay the bills and keep the family happy. I'm keeping on this vibe, yeah. I don't want to be doing anything else. I'm DJing, paying the bills. I get a little time to stream. I get a lot of family time. I'm living it right now. I'm living it.
I want to see your constant transition between rankings for wedding DJs. I want you to go from like 25th on the country down to like the top 5 DJs, the wedding DJs.
Hope, man. I hope.
That would be so fun to see that type of transition. But
we did 18 last year, so we'll see.
Hey, so there you go. Yeah, I mean, now's the time to be cooking. I mean, people are getting married all over the place, so that's kind of a thing.
Yeah, the inquiries are coming in hot.
So before we get out of here, one of the questions that I ask every guest at the end of the show is, I would love your top 3 DJs in VRChat to look forward to in 2025.
Oh shit. Well, I got an easy number 1. Fantex. Fantex is my number 1 favorite VRChat DJ. He's not really a VRChat DJ. I know he does a lot of IRL. He's doing some shows in Buffalo in the next upcoming months, which Buffalo is not far from me, so I'm hoping to show up to some of them and finally get to meet that legend IRL. But his doubles, his chopping, I've never seen some shit like that. He's mind blowing. He makes me grin ear to ear when I watch him. If you like dubstep, you gotta check out Fantex. He's genuinely super talented. Other than that, I gotta shout out Lumi. Day one homie. We started this shit way back in the day together. He was always the brother in arms. I was throwing down house at DDVR. He's throwing down hardcore at Dirty Dancers. He was always the partner in crime. I've done a lot of back-to-backs with him. He's flown out from Texas to the crib down in New York. I've been from New York down to his crib in Texas. It's been a great time. Likewise, Zumair. Zumair was a super OG friend of ours. Keeping it in the home. Zumair, Lumi, absolute homies. Definitely top 2 OG dogs right there. But yeah, Fantex is definitely my number 1 goated favorite talent in the game. I just think he's untouched. That dude's something else.
That's what I'm saying. Is you gotta be able to see when they're performing, so we can come on here and check them out. That's for sure. I know Zoomer does a ton of performance, as well as Lumi. We got to get Lumi back up in here and to do all sorts of stuff too.
Today.
Yeah, we missed it
today.
We missed it.
Yes, we did.
Okay, we'll get there for the next one, I guess. Before we get out of here, sorry, where can people find you on the internet?
Twitch.tv/SorryXO. On every other platform, it's just DJ Sorry. You'll find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm on pretty much everything. It's just DJ Sorry. On Twitch, we're SorryXO. Catch me. I'll be live soon.
Soon, as in like in a few moments, I guess.
Yes,
right?
sir. In a few minutes.
That's what I'm saying.
Swap the camera over.
That's how it works, man. But sorry, thank you so much for coming by the show, and we're looking forward to a really cool set.
No, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me. It was a blast.
And for all of you guys that are just following along the program right now, yes, it is VRCDJ Live, and we're live. Well, we were live. It's a 2-hour program that we have here on Thursdays. So feel free to follow along here on Twitch. We're here every Thursday, except for next week. We're taking a week off for other reasons. But we have a full cracked out lineup for you for February. We're going to have a Carousel join us, followed by Just Party, as we were just mentioning the fact that Just Party is having their 5th anniversary party out in Amsterdam. We're going to be talking to them a lot about that, as well as Resumu hostess, president, owner. Alec Quim's going to be joining us in February as well. So feel free to peep the schedule up on our social medias, up on Twitter and Blue Sky at VRCDJLIVE. And for those that are joining in late, we will also have your replays and highlights up on YouTube at the same moniker at VRCDJLIVE. So for Sorry, joining us, a special guest, and our team here, I'm Rob Roman, and this has been VRCDJ Live. We will see you next time.